Hello, everyone. I'm Steve.
And I'm Scott.
Welcome back. Together, we are Backyard Musings, Apple Valley in Utah. Are we the
Science
experts, Scott?
no, we are
Oh,
not experts of anything. At least I'm not. Science
right.
and Technology Channel.
Speaking of science and technology, there's been speculation about my mustache, whether it's conspiracy theory or what am I trying to hide, disfigure with acid or something. That's not it. I talked with my wife about this. I'm not going to do the little, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to grow it out and braid it to look like a
Fu,
fearsome
Fu,
Viking.
Fu Manchu.
Like a fearsome Viking. Yes, yes.
Oh, okay.
And then I'll braid it so that when it gets down to here, I'll put it back into one braid.
Stay tuned, everyone.
Stay tuned.
That could be a while, but yeah.
Okay, so if you're an Egyptologist or you like ancient Egypt like I do, or if you're just old and crusty like Scott, you might find this segment to be interesting. Few plants are more celebrated in Egyptian mythology than the blue lotus, a stunning water lily featured in some of archaeology's most significant discoveries. Researchers found its petals covering the body of King Tut when they opened his tomb in 1922, and its flowers often appear on ancient papyrus scrolls. Scholars have long hypothesized that the lilies, when soaked in wine, release psychedelic properties used in hallucination and sex fueled rituals dating back some 3,000 years. Now, I don't know anything about sex fueled rituals. I know nothing. Would you like to know more?
Are you saying you do know anything? You do know something about hallucinations?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Online products marketed as Blue Lotus claim to offer relaxation and even psychedelic experiences, but they're a far cry from the ancient Egyptians. What the ancient Egyptians actually used, according to UC Berkeley student research. So, yeah, I don't remember anything about Blue Lotus growing
Mm,
up in the '60s and '70s. So,
yeah. Well, stay tuned. Perhaps then it's not surprising that a plant resembling the blue lotus is now marketed online as a soothing flower, one that can be smoked in a vape or infused in tea. There's just one problem, according to Liam McCoy. Sorry, Liam McAvoy. The blue lotus used in ancient Egypt and the water lily advertised online are completely different plants.
uh-huh. McAvoy, a fourth year UC Berkeley student majoring in anthropology and minoring in Egyptology, has spent much of his time on campus studying, oh boy, here we go, Nymphaea caerulea, the vaunted Egyptian blue lotus. He's dived deep into the wild world of rare plant procurement on Reddit to look for the plant in the present and studied hieroglyphic translation to search for it in the past. In collaboration with the UC Berkeley Center for the Science of Psychedelics, which that is
I,
totally fitting at
I
UC.
believe that. I
Yeah,
believe there's a center
yeah.
for that at UC
They
Berkeley.
probably have a waiting list of people to get into that research
Right.
center. And with the help of chemists, he compared authentic plants now growing at the UC Botanical Garden with samples sold in online places like Etsy. Wow, isn't that sweet? Okay.
Not only are the plants from ancient Egypt an entirely different species from those sold online, McAvoy said that Egyptologists for decades may have misunderstood how the psychoactive blue lotus that grew on the Nile River banks was consumed thousands of years ago.
Okay, so are we saying that it doesn't grow there anymore?
Well, we'll get into this. I mean, the Aswan Dam kind of messed things up, with the.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
As he did more research, he learned of the Egyptian blue lotus's prominence through classes and ancient artifacts kept at Berkeley's own Phoebe A. Hearst Museum of Anthropology. I wonder if that's the same Hearst family of
Yeah.
Hearst
Yeah.
Castle.
Yeah,
Is
it
that,
is. Yep.
as he learned to read the hieroglyphs, he came to understand the flower's importance on ancient scrolls and its roles in the Hathoric festival of drunkenness. Okay. In which ancient people got drunk, passed out, and for a fleeting moment when they awoke, reportedly saw the face of Hathor. And I'm not familiar with that. If you've watched the series Stargate SG-1, have not, then you know that Hathor is the Egyptian goddess of love, beauty, and fertility. As his research questions took shape, he wanted to know if the plants used in ancient Egypt were the same as those purportedly available online. He also wanted to see how different processing methods affected the release of the psychoactive alkaloid nucifrin that causes the euphoria.
This is
So,
interesting.
oh, sure. Yeah.
Okay, step one was to find a plant. That authentic Egyptian blue lotus has become incredibly rare, with the construction of the Aswan Dam on the southern Nile dramatically altering its native environment. The plant is now considered to be threatened and on the verge of being endangered.
Ah,
While the UC Botanical Garden has a vast array of plants for scholars to study, the Egyptian blue lotus was not among them, and other botanical gardens around the world were unable to provide samples for his research, McAvoy said.
I wonder how you get involved in that testing.
The seedy world of blue lotus testing?
Yeah,
Hmm.
at UC Berkeley.
Yeah.
On a Reddit page devoted to the blue lily, he contacted someone in Arizona who claimed to have the authentic, here we go, Nymphaea caerulea. The user was intrigued by McAvoy's study and overnighted him a living plant, oh wow, that botanists confirmed was legit. During its blooming season last summer, he collected its flowers for analysis. It now lives in the recently reopened Virginia Halden Tropical House at the UC Botanical Garden. McAvoy believes it's the only university botanical garden in the country with a living Egyptian blue lotus. Okay.
He
Cool.
also ordered dried petals of the supposed lotus on Etsy with the help of Evan Williams, a Berkeley professor of chemistry, and Anthony Iavarone, a project scientist. McAvoy used mass spectrometry to get a general idea of the chemical composition of both samples. They found that nuciferin levels were much higher in verified Egyptian blue lotus when compared to the Etsy source flower, leading McAvoy to believe that flowers sold online are actually a visually striking but otherwise common, non-psychoactive water lily.
So fake.
Fake.
We have a scam and a fake here. Okay.
This is a conspiracy here. Yep.
Yep. An online search for the Egyptian blue lotus turns up dozens of sellers offering all manner of options purporting to be the real deal. A $20 bag.
A 2-dime bag.
Yeah. $20 bag of petals that promises to promote sleep and boost immunity. That was a quote. A $90 bag of petals that can cause heightened awareness and spiritual connection. This is too much. A $154 bottle of essential oil that may boost sexual health and desire. Quote, the stuff being sold online is not the same, and our findings suggest that blue lotus is actually unique in comparison to other water lilies, McAvoy said. It's a very specific plant.
So next, McAvoy wanted to know if the authentic plant's psychedelic elements could be extracted by a soak in red wine. Pure and chemically isolated. I honestly didn't know that they had grapes for wine in Egypt. I thought they just got drunk on goat's milk, fermented goat's milk.
And blue lotus.
And blue lotus. Okay. Pure and chemically isolated nuciferin and alkaloid is easily dissolvable in alcohol, he said, but not a nuciferin-packed flower with a waxy, water-repellent exterior. Instead, it needed something else to unlock its nuciferin, a substance akin to olive oil with fats that allowed the slightly fat-soluble alkaloid to fully dissolve in wine.
Quote, we're beginning to think the ancient Egyptians didn't just put it into wine, McAvoy said. We hypothesized they actually created an infused oil, which was later added into wine. McAvoy's findings add new depth to prevailing understandings about ancient Egypt and about questionable lotus-laced supplements sold online today. In ancient times, a ceremonial beverage may have been a potion of oil and wine steeped with lotus flowers. Today, the promises of what's marketed online as a miracle wellness elixir, akin to snake oil, appear only to be good, or only too good to be true.
Yeah, so these sneaky little Egyptians, they were into something, man. These guys were alchemists. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
All right. McAvoy will graduate this fall. Thank you very much. To pursue a career in intellectual property law. Okay.
Huh.
Using his work translating trade secrets encoded in ancient myth, he wants to reconstruct how our ancestors lived thousands of years ago. Quote, there should be someone at the table who has studied people, not just economics, money, or political science, McAvoy said. Someone who sees people as human beings and sees communities as interconnected webs of meaning. But before he begins that work, he wants to finish his experiments.
In the coming months, McAvoy, Williams, and Veena Avanhani, a PhD candidate in chemistry, plan to use intense pressure to tear apart the flower samples at the chemical level. That process, called liquid chromatography, will separate the complex mixture of compounds into their individual chemical compounds. Once they rerun the mass spectrometry analysis, they will have applied one of the gold standard tests of analytical chemistry to the plant at the center of those dubious online health claims.
McAvoy also wants to return to the Hearst Museum's enormous collection of Egyptian artifacts, where he plans to conduct one more round of chemical testing on a 3,000-year-old goblet. Such a test could reveal whether there are any traces of fat molecules from an oil, which could bolster his idea that it wasn't just wine steeped with lotus flowers during the ancient rituals.
Perhaps there would even be trace amounts of plants themselves. A discovery that would add a new chapter to the flower's story and its psychedelic properties. Together, McAvoy sees his work as a rare example of how ancient magic and modern science can come together to deepen our understanding of the nature that has always surrounded us. So,
follow your dreams. Follow your dreams.
Yeah, and this is UC Berkeley. That's University of California Schools, which means it's being funded by the state. So, take it for what it's worth. But yeah, I mean, it's cool that they get to study this stuff. I mean, obviously he's not going to pursue this as a career, right? He's just doing this kind of as a school project. But
yeah, he's studying law, intellectual property law. So
yeah,
for graduate stuff,
which is another good thing to practice in California.
I could make some money. Yeah.
All
right, folks. Thanks for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this one.
Yep. Take care, everyone. We'll see you next time. Thank you.